To Global Morning Weekend Edition. Today is a beautiful Sunday, and I'm not going to be doing this alone. I am Priscilla Obasi. I'm here with someone that's supposed to be Mecca right now. Right now, she's in the
on
studio
a Sunday morning.
Yes, now
Priscilla Obasi on a Sunday morning. You just said beautiful Sunday morning.
it is.
So you're opening the show.
I was quite shocked to come to the studio to still see you. I mean, I thought you would be on that pilgrimage journey.
Yeah.
So
I'll actually be on my way soon.
Okay.
As soon as I close, I'll fly. My flight is already waiting for me. So from here I would go.
I'm happy to hear that. I'm here with Hajia Sadia Yakubu.
Hajia in the making.
In the making.
All right. Good morning once again to all our viewers, whichever part of the country you're watching from. I am Sadia Yakubu, and once again welcoming you to Global Morning, the weekend edition. So Priscilla Obasi, when are you going to take me out for?
Children's Day.
Children's Day. Am I a child?
Are you a children?
Am I a children?
Well, it's fortunately it is Salah week. This week is Salah, and it's the big Salah. I know when you have a friend that is celebrating Salah.
No. I think we have to fight now. I want us to have issues.
We are not quarreling.
No, not quarrel. I say I want us to fight.
No, we can't. Impossible. Our bond is going to be strongest this week.
Which bond?
I assure you.
Relationship bond.
I assure you. So it's time for you to bond with that Muslim friend of yours, because it's going to be an interesting week. Yes, and then I mean it's also Children's Day this week, so it's double celebration for the nation.
Wait, am I a children?
You are your mother's children. You are your mother's child.
Yeah. So, like you said, you are a children. So,
you can never stop being a child. Your mother, no matter how old you get, she would always see you as that little child, that little baby.
So you mean my mom is seeing me like a baby now?
Of course.
And
you would always be a baby in her eyes, no matter how big you get. Even if you start to have your own children, she will still have that picture of when you were in her womb, what she went through. Especially Sadia, I know you're that kind of a child that gave your mom
tough time,
like kids.
Yes.
I know there's this attachment mothers have with that stubborn child. If you're a stubborn child, you would always be in her memory.
Priscilla Obasi.
I
think I need to invite security agencies to wait for you outside immediately after this program. They'll come and pick you for me, because I don't understand today. It's supposed to do a she for she something, but the way you are turning the whole thing, I don't get it.
No, it's part of bonding.
Which bonding?
Like I said,
I already want us to have issues so that you won't start asking me for salami.
My love, we can't.
No.
We can't. Okay, so it's a beautiful Sunday, as we say, and we'll go for a quick break right now. There's a lot happening in Nigeria. Nigeria is, somebody says Nigeria ought to be on Netflix, because every episode is quite interesting as events unfold. The political atmosphere is shifting, and it's shifting with a lot of, I don't want to say chaos, but interesting drama. So let's just go for a quick break right now. When we return, we take you straight to the national dailies to bring you what is happening. Please don't go anywhere. We'll return shortly.
Up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning.
For the latest issues,
Always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
It's good to have you back. We appreciate you joining us. Right now, we dive straight to the newspaper review segment, and we are starting with the very first paper that I have here, which is the Nation newspaper. First story above the nameplate: huge tumult as APC affirms Tinubu for 2027. I don't know if you saw clips of that primary, but it was a very hilarious primary, if you ask me. Because what are you expecting? I mean, if there was any opposition, I think it was either for formality or maybe someone is just trying to make his face known. You know what it means to stand side by side with the president. So it gives you some level of popularity. But at the same time, we still do not know him. So if that was the aim, I'd say it has been defeated. For people who did the APC, maybe, but to the general public, I don't even know. I don't even think a lot of Nigerians know that there's something that's primaries in the APC right now going on. But would we say congratulations to the president?
Yeah, we'd have to say congratulations to the president.
Yeah, I don't know. Has the results been concluded? But so far, Tinubu is winning.
You know, Nigeria don't need to come out to tell you that the result has been announced or a primary is concluded. They will start telling you this is congratulations to so person.
Exactly.
Then you start seeing some social media results popping up on social media, of course. So you see from there, you start saying congratulations.
I'm particularly fascinated about how the primaries, has been conducted. I don't think we've seen it in this fashion before. No. We know that it's usually a consensus or maybe direct primaries, but the outcome, the videos I've seen so far, you see someone standing with a picture of their preferred candidate, another standing with their preferred candidate, and then you start to count. We have seen videos where you count from 1 to 1,000 instantly. That's an exaggeration, but the numbers, just see people counting, and then head counting. I really feel like INEC ought to follow this process the way they follow our main elections process, because this is where it starts from. They need to pay more attention, because, like I said, I saw a video where a lady was counting and she went from, let's give example, from 200 to 250. The next person.
Wow.
Yes, and the counting keeps going in multiplication manner. It was not arithmetic. It was not arithmetically done. It was exponentially done. So it's, I don't know. INEC needs to really look.
No brown envelope involved. While counting, the video you saw.
They didn't show us that part.
Oh, really? I think congratulations on that aspect.
So, two writers in that says, President, our primaries deepen grassroots participation. of course, set to receive party's flag, certificate of return, TOC-AY, and that is coming. That detail is brought to you on page 5. Next story, inside, empire for sale, not by consent. How Suhail Akar lost 15 billion naira fortune to nephew he trusted. Allegations of forgery, shady deals tear industrialist family apart. Tears industrialist family apart. Okay, details on page 19. The Star Story says parties press with primaries despite judgment of INEC timetable. Details on page 7. The Nation appears to be a bit scanty, and those are your headlines. Go to the next paper.
All right, and next paper, which is Sunday Hope. Yeah, when you made mention of this this paper, I said, are you referring to Hope Uzodimma?
Well, we need to dig in.
All right, so the leading story, Tinubu clinches APC ticket in landslide victory, defeats lone opponent. I don't know this Stanley Osifo with irrecoverable margin. President applauds conduct of APC primary poll nationwide. Ayedatiwa Adilami other commend party voters officiating personnel in Ondo. And that's our big story. And then moving on from that one, police rescue 12 kidnapped victims in Ondo community. APC primaries, Nigerians want Tinubu's continuity in 2027. Ajabia Mila. Federal government unveils a digital training program for 36,000 Nigerian youth. 6 Nigerian nabbed in Thailand over alleged romance scam. And then the last story from me, Ebola scare, PSN orders nationwide pharmacy surveillance, tighten safety protocols. Terrorist attack, kill 12 at Nigeria-Cameroon border. That's all for the Sunday Hope newspaper this morning.
Okay, thank you very much, Sadia. And the next point of call is Sunday Sun. First story, top left corner above the nameplate. Presidential primary, Tinubu emerges APC candidate. And rather to that says, strong turnout has energized me to do more, says the president. What can we say? Details on page 35. Police crack child stealing syndicate in Ogun. Rather to that, arrests husband, wife, rescue 3 stolen children. This is a serious one, and you'll find that detail on page 29. Ebola scare. PSN urges Nigerian pharmacies to heighten surveillance. Details on page 25. Next story, Tinubu deforming, not reforming Nigeria. Adebayo, SDP presidential candidate, is saying this. And the detail is on page 20. Big story, star story, fallout of primaries. Internal war rocks APC. Petitions, flawed appeal committee as aggrieved contestants weigh options. Party leaders, stakeholders allege intimidation, imposition, name substitution in primaries in states. Details on page 18 and 19. There's about to be an implosion in the APC.
And we already have our group members leaving the party already.
The bone of contention is, can they join another party at this point? Because the INEC or the electoral law says, given the set date it gave, you can no longer belong to another party. However, we're seeing rumors on the internet that the court had its own say. We do not know the interpretation, if it's been interpreted, because it's one thing for the court to say it, it's another thing for it to be interpreted correctly. So people are saying, people now have the right to go change parties 9 minutes, but we don't know how true that is.
Well, I've started seeing some aggrieved APC members who left the party now joining another political party.
So is that accepted? If INEC law says you can't, and you just go ahead and do it on your own, if you decide to contest, would it be counted? Would you be, listed as officially or legally a contestant? Is the point of contention? Like we say, you can't do anything, but it has to be in agreement with our laws. So if you decide to do it on your own, nobody stops you until it's time to say I won, and they now take you back to the court. To square one.
That's when you start dragging. So I think this year would be a big year for the lawyers. The
exactly. What a time to study law. I think we need to go back.
We need to go back to study law because it's a big. You start seeing petitions here and there,
especially after 2027 elections. Yeah. There are going to be lots of litigations that come out of it because of the whole INEC laws, electoral laws. Yes. It's confusing. The interpretation is not the same. Everybody's giving it its own interpretation. So at the end of the day.
It's always like at the end of the
tunnel. I'll start to tell my children to buckle up for law in Nigeria.
All right, so our next newspaper is Sunday Independent. Okay. And the lead story, APC concludes primary of survival elite bargaining. And then exercise demonstrates internal democracy, grassroots politics, Tinubu. And away from that story, allowed is a 450 megawatt return after 3 years sparks hope for stable power. Olu Senate seats. Analysts pick holes in Uzodima's primary election victory. That's on page 5. 2027 MCE for engaged presidential aspirants, political leaders, INEC, and others. And page 3. Oyo School kidnap. What security agencies must do. Stakeholders, lawyers condemn nationwide insecurity, seek urgent action.
The sad thing about this insecurity is when you see how these kidnappers flog
those boys.
Flog. I'm like, is it their fault? What have they done? People that are already appearing helpless to you, are you flogging them to add the pressure to their guardians or loved ones to bring money? What do you derive? And I heard something, I don't know how true it is, but it appears as though some of these kidnappers now are people that traffic human parts now. So they don't just kidnap you for money. When you cannot give them, they just eliminate you.
They eliminate them and get their parts. Let's do it like that.
Yes. Don't say me. Not you. Can never be. They eliminate them and take their vital organs and sell it. So somebody is saying, okay, when they get you, the first thing they ask you is, are you a smoker? If they're a smoker, then your kidney is damaged. They'll go for your money, your ransom, and make sure they get the ransom. But if you're not, they say, okay, if you don't give us ransom, we can get your part. It's that.
But do you think
terrible? Is that terrible right now?
Nigeria, anyways, the security issue in Nigeria now is nothing to write home about. Even though the president, even before the current president's current administration, the previous administration pumped a lot of money into insecurity. Where are we today? It hasn't stopped. Instead, it's increasing day by day as they are trying to close this angle. Another would open, and then it's still the insecurity stuff. So with what's happening now, if we continue like this, I don't think parents will allow their children to go to schools anymore.
It's sad. I don't even know, but at this point it's sad. Okay, let's take it to the very last paper for the day.
All right.
Which is the Vanguard newspaper. Appears a bit scanty, but let's bring you the stories that we have on it. First one says, talking about parents and children going to school. School abduction. Warning signs ignored, and that is coming from locals. We've had a security expert come here and say the reason why this insecurity prevails in communities is because those people in that vicinity there's no teamwork, because security starts from you and I in our environment. So you should be able to know when a strange face is in your environment. When a new set of people come into that space, you should be vigilant enough, and there should be teamwork, because right now you cannot leave it to the hands of the government.
No.
You can't. So we should have strategy within the locales of the community. Come together. It's time to come together more than ever before. Do not depend on the government anymore, as it is.
But funny enough, even within the locals, within the community, we still have informants. Someone you know, someone we all mingle with, we do all sort of things with. You find out that at some point, they are involved in this insecurity issue. So how do we go about that?
Well, it starts from, there will always be the bad guys, no matter what. But if you don't have enough good guys to report bad situations, the bad guys will overtake. So there needs to be a hand-in-hand, close work with, the police stations around you, so that when you suspect anything, you come together and report situations. It's really disturbing at this point, but we must defeat insecurity.
Amen.
And that detail is on page 24. Next story, Tinubu beats challenges silly as Shetima's decision awaited. Details on page 6 and 27. How Ayedatiwa weaponized state's power against democracy in Ondo. Details on page 35. Fuel supply shut down. AGF, NNPC move to defend energy security. Details on page 35. Gowon's chilling account of how Nigeria slid into military rule. Page 7 is where you'll see that story. Next story, killer Ebola is back, but Nigeria's 2014 lessons gone. Well, I don't know if you beat results that year. I don't know if it's part of that story. But those are your headlines. Those are your headlines for the Sunday Vanguard, and that brings us to the end of the newspaper review segment. It's important to note that all of the papers are brought to you by the various publication companies. I mean, the newspaper publications, the newspaper publicators, rather. Global Television did not add to that story. At this point, we wrap up the newspaper review segment. I will move to the discussion segment, where I'll be joined by our very first guest to help us bring details on Nigeria's development. Please don't go anywhere. Global Morning Weekend Edition continues shortly.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m., Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
In an age of breaking news, you need a trusted source that prioritizes accurate, factual, and unbiased reporting. This is AM News, and I am Ubong Usoro.
On Global Television, our news is rooted in verified and authoritative storytelling that keeps you educated, informed, and enlightened on all the issues that matter to you. I am Sadia Yakubu. This is Midday News.
You can trust our multi-platform news broadcast real-time and fast-check stories for all the big local and foreign headlines round the clock. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. This is News Express.
Our array of anchors delivers the news to our teeming viewers, breaking it down with context and perspective. This is News Cycle on Global Television. I am Anieti Patrick.
And the flagship news is your hub for the day's most engaging stories. This is News Prime, and I am Jumai Manson.
Did you miss any of our news rounds? No worries. Catch up at 10 p.m. and midnight, 7 days of the week. I am Mukhtar Kasim.
Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. We're active across all social media platforms at Global TV NG.
Global TV News, accurate and unbiased. I'm Uyi Agmofwebe.
Across Africa today, conversations around development are becoming more urgent and sadly a bit more complex, from economic growth to the security challenges, and from resource management to youth and unemployment, from governance to gender inclusion. Many African nations are still asking the same question: how do we move from potential to progress? And for a country like Nigeria, that question becomes even more important because Nigeria occupies a very unique position on the continent, with one of Africa's largest population, enormous natural resources, entrepreneurial energy, and growing youth population. Expectations remain high about the role of the country. What role should the country play, not just nationally, but across Africa? Yet, at the same time, there are ongoing concerns around governance, around leadership, around economic inclusion and insecurity, as we highlighted, around industrial growth and sustainable development. Another major conversation gaining attention globally is the role of women in development and resource governance. Now, across sectors like the mining sector, agricultural sector, business, policy, and peace building, more women are stepping into leadership spaces and influencing national conversation. But many still argue that Nigeria has not fully harnessed the leadership potential of women in shaping long-term development outcomes. So this morning, we're asking crucial questions. What should Nigeria's role be in Africa's development journey? Is the country maximizing its resources and human capital effectively? And how important is inclusion leadership to national transformation? Joining us this morning is Dr. Janet Febisola Adeyemi. She's the president of Women in Mining Nigeria and a respected development advocate with experience spanning governance, policy, legislative affairs, peace building, and resource administration. She has served in various strategic national positions, including advisory and policy implementation roles, and continues to contribute to conversations around development, leadership, and inclusion across Nigeria and Africa. Dr. Janet, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much, and I'm grateful you invited me.
Okay, let's begin broadly. How would you assess Nigeria's current role within Africa's development landscape?
I think if you don't go into research to really search it out, we will continue to criticize and say, oh, Nigeria is not doing well. But I think Nigeria is playing significant roles in view of even their own domestic challenges. As we speak, Nigeria is one of the largest population in the world, not necessarily even in Africa, with a population of over 200 currently, projected to by 2030 to get to almost 400 million. So you know what we have at stake in terms of human resources at our hands. And if you talk of, and then you look at the economy, the size of the economy, the nature of the people itself, the markets, you find that Nigeria is not doing badly. Because we literally supply the human capital needed. And we just did not start. It started during even the military time. You know, the TAC project. If you look at the TAC project, that's a platform through which Nigeria sends experts to other countries to support other countries. And it's on record, let me put this on record, because of the xenophobic thing in South Africa, that if they forget easily, when we were in the university, I knew we have quite a number of them as lecturers, as students, you understand, who were on scholarship on Nigeria. So Nigeria has always been in the space, championing development across Africa.
Okay, there seems to be a lot we need to talk about on the conversations. We'll just go for a very short break. When we return, we'll bring all we need to talk about today. Please do not go anywhere. Stay with us. Appreciate your time with us. The conversation is just getting started, and we're with Dr. Janet. Dr. Janet said something striking. Nigeria, if we don't do enough research, we will not see the impact. I'm sure this would really come off as a shock for maybe some of our viewers, and maybe not all, considering the xenophobic attacks, right, which you also highlighted. Now, if you say we are that significant across Africa, why are we being treated in such manner in a country like South Africa?
One thing I found out from my journeys across Africa, with all sense of humility, and I'm not just trying to flaunt anything as a Nigerian. I think Nigerians are just self-confident people. And anywhere you get to, you understand, you find out that the human nature is either people think, why are you so confident? Even when a Nigerian is even wrong doing something, he stands with confidence, you understand, to defend it. And this can probably offend our people. And then one other thing you should look at is that Nigerians are quite industrious. Give it to them. In fact, you know, there's always this joke that any country you get to and you don't find an able man who is a Nigerian anyway, just run away from that place. So that tells you how industrious we are. Nigerians will turn around anything. If what we are going through domestically is happening in some other countries, I'll tell you, people who have taken to the streets, fighting and things like that. But Nigerians always have a way of adapting to it. So for me, I believe that the xenophobic thing, because I go to South Africa at least once a year for the Indaba conference. And you see people there even in the salons now, you want to do your hair, you find them everywhere walking. And these other people, you see them, I'm talking of Cape Town experience, you see them lined on the streets, waiting for to be fixed, you understand, for their daily jobs or something. So why the Nigerians, understand, are mindful of where they're coming from and the challenges at home, that with the problems they have to solve at home. So they are busy working. And somebody sees you living, and the Nigerians know how to work hard and enjoy hard. I think there's a Swedish that did something and said the happiest place on the earth, which is seen, is Nigerian. If you find Oyinbo, these white guys are coming here for conferences and everything, and you take them out, you see that they really enjoy themselves. And I'll buttress it up with, there's a Nigerian who does an exchange program. He brings children from America, you understand, to come to Akwa Ibom, even the remotest part of Akwa Ibom. But do you know that they lobby this guy to bring them every year? He comes to just 16 students. But they want more, you understand, because of the kind of hospitality, Nigerians are extremely friendly. They are confident, so they are open, they embrace people. So for me, I think these are some of the challenges. So economically, you see people doing well, you see people self-confident, and then you don't feel intimidated and you believe, oh no, these people have to get out of our country. And then on the lighter side, the women made it worse. An average South African woman wants to date a Nigerian man, and so the men just believe what's happening. Our women are rejecting us, and they are following and you know what it means. So I think these are some of the challenges.
Isn't it supposed to be a reason to want to embrace Nigeria?
When you are taking all their beautiful babes, you understand, and because I went to South Africa about 8 years ago.
Okay, so the South African men want to date Nigerian women?
No. The South African girls want to date Nigerian men.
So they should be advocating for Nigerians to stay in their country.
So no, you can say that the South African ladies now took to streets and said, no, you cannot send their husbands away. You understand? So if you follow their story, because I was interested in these stories and I care for, they say, no, you can't take our husbands away. But because you find out that when the Nigerian man gets somewhere, the Nigerian man has a way of protecting their wives, make them comfortable, provide for them. And when you call, on a lighter note, audience, it's swagger.
The Nigerian women will agree with that.
Swagger. No, I tell you, when you see them treat foreigners.
So they treat foreigners better.
Because they know that, we are all Nigerians. We women too, we know how to hustle. But these people don't hustle. And they find a home where the man still wants to keep his standards, so everything comes in. So I think that's what happens.
It gives the balance.
It gives the balance.
What the patriarchal system wants. But that's on a lighter note. Well, from everything you have highlighted, now I see it as more of Nigerians taking, the responsibility. I do not really see the effort of maybe a government playing a bigger role. It's more of citizens being responsible, citizens thriving, citizens pushing for. So the conversation is basically about, yes, we have Nigerians that are willing, that are able, that are thriving, that wants to, put their names on the sands of time and all of that. But the government, on the other hand, what is the effort? Have they really made the effort? Because when the whole xenophobia incident came, to light, part of my worries was, don't we have a government that should interface? We cannot have our people being killed, because there are cases of people who lost their lives. Yeah, and we are the giant of Africa. Can't we have a president that just gives an instruction? We have ambassadors all over the country, gives an instruction, and somehow the fact that we are that important, plays out in this conversation. Because apparently it looks like it's just Nigerians taking responsibility, and more like a father or a child without a father and a mother. Yeah.
No, I don't want to see it like that, my dear, because if you see the reactions of government, you see there are quite a number of things we don't read. And it's not everything that government brings to the because you remember that some Nigerians, I told you that I was following that story because I saw some incidences I didn't like. The way women were dehumanized, brought to the streets nakedly, and the way these guys were just treating them. And if you look at what you are seeing, you find that constant face that goes out every day. You start saying, where's South African government in itself? What did South African government do? The sovereignty of a nation, when you see what guides it, you have to be very careful. So that's
even at the point where your own people are being dehumanized.
Yes, you have to be very careful. So what do? You start with dialogue, and which was what they started in. They moved in, wrote letters, and sent in. The National Assembly debated it on the floor of the House, and the National Assembly set up a team to go to South Africa to dialogue. So for me, I think these are the first stage. And even instantly, the diaspora, the DG Diaspora Commission provided facilities to say, when you want to leave, those who want to leave, can you leave? You understand? And they tried as much as possible to take inventory of properties and things that are damaged. And I believe that Whether we like it or not, South Africa will be held responsible, because you find some other countries who moved in. Nigeria, remember our size, our population, and our responsibility. When Nigeria sneezes, it affects the whole country. So you don't exercise your power as much as you should. You want to be very careful in doing it. But you can see smaller countries immediately moved in and said, oh, they cut ties with this. People are expecting Nigerians to do that. You can't do that easily, because indirectly too, some things affect us. Look at our communication, for instance. Look at so many other things. So we have to be very careful.
Is it basically because we depend on them solely?
No, I don't think.
We should have.
I don't think it's because we depend on them, my dear. You see, the diplomatic relations of countries matter. If you do fire for fire instantly, you can. I want to be very careful talking about Trump. You understand? Look at President Trump. Some of the things are backfiring on him. The relationship with Canada. You understand? Yes, I'm American, I'm big, we are this, our economy is this. But you can see that America lost grounds in some things that it will take a while if they can even ever catch up, because overnight Canada grew up. And those things they thought Canada cannot do, especially when you look at the steel industry, you understand, Canada turned elsewhere. So you have to be very careful in exercising diplomatic relationship. And I believe that our government wants to use, I'm not speaking for government, I believe that our government wants to maximize every opportunity, you understand, in dialoguing. And that's what they did. And if you even look at ambassadors, see the immediate switch. You understand? They decided to tell, like somebody who can come up with fire for fire, you understand, was saying, there was a swap between Germany and South Africa, and I'm sure it must be for strategic reasons too. So some of these things I'm not in government to be able to explain, but from what you and I can read on paper, that's my own interpretation of it.
So let me outrightly ask, what is your view? In your view, what is your greatest or maybe the biggest obstacles showing development or slowing development in Nigeria across Africa?
I think what is slowing development in Nigeria is infrastructural gap.
Okay.
Infrastructural gap is very, very important. If we have, and thank God for the fintech, you understand, who is trying to build a market rail that is to be able to move their things. When I say market rail, moving digital digitalization across Africa. But generally, when you don't have infrastructure, even within the country, let's look at within the country, how many things are rotting away? And that's why we have spikes with seasons. But if we have storage facilities where we can store things, where we can do things, I can assure you that it won't be as bad as it is. So infrastructure is very important. If we have connectivity here and there, and goods and services can move at free will, you understand, especially with the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, you understand, that has been signed. Nigeria signed this since 2019. You understand, the free flow, you understand, we encourage movement of goods and everybody will be fully engaged.
Strongly, I would say part of the government's strong opinion and solution to this xenophobia incident. It's not the first time it's happening. That's why it's a big concern. But you find them say things like, okay, come back home. Don't travel again. You don't have to go to a place where you're treated in such manner. And Nigerians would say the country is not conducive. Why would your solution just be come back home? Our arms are wide open to receive.
But let me tell you something. I always laugh, especially when I was in the House of Reps. In my community where I come from, Ileoluji, in Ondo State, if you know the number of citizens that relocated to the US, they sell in fact, virtually everything to be able to raise the money, the visa. I think it even took the embassy some years back to come to Ileoluji and say, what magic do you people do to be able to win the lottery and move to America? It's good, your movements are good. That's Ondo State, you understand? It's good. It has helped, because when you get to that community today and you see the impact of what that movement has done in terms of remittances back home and what they've been able to use it, at least provide basic shelters for their parents, for themselves and all that. But it is not enough still. I always tell people that why do people dare it and go through the high seas, you understand? Just because you want to...
Some go legitimately.
So, because you want to cross over. And cross over to what? There are certain countries here you can say, yes, I want to go because of their respect for human rights. But there are certain countries, like I would know, recently I was being invited to South Africa for a conference, a WIM conference, and I just tactically declined, and I said, I can't see you treating my people like this and wanting me to come. That's my personal thing. My personal judgment is different from government, and I expect everybody to be able to do a critical cost benefits social cost analysis and look at it, that what does it even pay me? How much are they paying me? We say our country is bad, but I tell you that some people are making it. You are still living in there, I'm living in there, you understand? So it's a question of equally you finding what to do, you understand? Because I find out that most times people reject even services here and go and pick up worse employments over there. And wait, there's not because of anything. Okay. You must be able to respect your life. You must be able to respect yourself. When dignity is taken out of life, this money, where we make money, we equate money to God. Once you have money, I know the Nigerian mentality too. Once you have money, your respect, everything goes up in the society and things like that. To me, I think it should be more than that. You understand? We should have some form of contentment, and I see that a lot among the white people. When they move into a house, they just have a small bag. You understand? And once they move, so government on its own must try to provide enabling environment for citizens, so that once you provide that enabling environment for citizens where you can access shelter, you can run on a mortgage, you can buy your car on you understand, on mortgage, or that is part payments and things like that, I'm sure things will get better. But for you to go and tuck yourself in a place where you're not even sure of your kind of investment, I don't think is the best option, no matter what government does to you. Because here you still have the third tier of support, external support. I'll tell you, I'm meeting you maybe for the first time. If I step out of this place and you are hungry, God forbid, if you call me, I'm likely to answer. In a foreign land, there's nobody to call. We have our extended family system. We have our friends who are our first responders in times of crisis. Who do you call overseas? So when you are looking at a country and you want to relocate, I'm not saying people should not relocate. Think wisely before you relocate.
Okay, so do you think if Nigerians are able to see, because you mentioned, the fact that some people reject jobs here and go outside to pick them, which I totally agree. There are, some menial things that people will not do. But somehow I feel like the reason is because, for example, look at our minimum wage. Our minimum wage is as little as cannot even afford you a full day's meal. I mean, breakfast, lunch, dinner for some people. And this is what a family to some, in some community will depend on. They will not just depend on it for themselves alone. Some of them use it to feed their children, it is to send them to school. These things are real, right? It is that real. And we don't have laws that even project or talk about these things, because as far as I'm concerned, that man that sits in the maybe House of Reps, in the Senate to make all of these laws do not understand the day-to-day survival of the common man in Nigeria. So somehow it would never occur to them to reason, because they say it is he that wears the shoes that knows where it pinches. So we must have that social infrastructure plan, you understand, that is able to carry the grassroots along. It's not just coming to them when you need them for elections and all of that. And somehow I really feel that most of these countries look at us the way they look at us, because they know that, like I said, we're almost like orphans. I'll treat you anyhow. A woman that knows, or a woman that marries a man that basically this man knows you are depending on me for your survival, your parents meant nothing to you, you're likely to be treated badly because they know I am your all in all. So it's more like the situations, I would really equate that to the situation of, what Nigerians go through in the hands of these foreigners, because they know, go back home, you want to be here, we know you need us. So, I mean, you should be at our beck and call. And even at that, to an extent, they still are treated financially better than at home. A menial job in Nigeria, if you were employed as, say, a housekeeper, a house help, you know the difference as compared to when you are employed as a house help in a country like the UK. I'm not trying to demarcate us in any way, but this is the reality. And our government needs to understand. It's not just by saying you people should come back home. It's also by creating an enabling environment. I don't think it's too much. Right now, the request of so many Nigerians is, can we even be safe? It is no longer about build roads. It's no longer about give us lights. It's no longer about give us water. It's our lives are in danger. We can't even move freely. Don't worry about all of those things. Can we be safe? That is where we are at right now in Nigeria. And you say people should come back home? Make it make sense, ma'am.
No, I agree. You see, I'm not. One thing I want you to know is that I agree with you. Everything you have said, and in fact, I'm afraid of the next republic because what is happening? The next republic of legislators, you are finding a trend where the children of the rich, the children of the top politicians are just substituting their parents.
Yeah.
That is, people who have never worked all their life, people who have no experience, you understand?
Have
never tasted poverty. You understand? So how would they empathize with this? So I agree completely with you. I agree completely with you that there should be a social security system in this country. I agree with you. But you know, our conversation, let me take you back to your initial question. Your initial question is that this xenophobic attack right now that is happening. How is government handling it? That was what you asked, and that was what I answered. But if you now look at the generics, what caused it? That's a different thing. What caused it, you understand, is this inequality. What caused it is the disparity, you understand, in salaries, in payments. You understand, the gap between the rich and the poor, or the one at the top of the ladder and the one at the bottom of the ladder, is extremely wide. The corruption in the country is enormous, except we all shy away from it. And if I tell you instances, you will cry. Even as a professional, there are certain professionals the professions that are wiping off gradually. Because why? Even when you submit proposal, you can't guarantee your proposal because you nurture the proposal. You just wake up and you find out that somebody else has been given because the person has a link or so many dirty things are happening. So I'm not condemning everything you have said. I believe that there's a need. Somebody says something, maybe it's on Facebook. She said, is it Joe Stone or something? She said there was a man who beat the wife recklessly, and they hunted for that man and got the man. But the wife now backed off. You understand? And so Tom was now saying, whether you like woman, you come or you don't come. Once you beat your wife, you've offended all of us, and we will take it up until we cleanse the society, because government enough cannot cleanse the society. So we are all guilty of this. Because where are we guilty? Even the followers, people who kill and vote for wrong candidates. You see evil and you refuse to talk about evil. You see evil, you refuse to react because you've been given money. And somebody say, no, it's because they're extremely poor. No, it's still the love for money. So it's a cyclic thing that we all have to sit down and look at and address. But I agree with you that there's a need, you understand, to revise the salary structure. There's a need to remove the PEPs. The PEPs are too many, especially when you hear what national legislators are taking. And that is why everybody is scrambling. There's no job again. Everybody is scrambling to be in National Assembly because you believe that once you are in National Assembly, I can tell you that less than 2% of the people going to National Assembly or vying for National Assembly have interest to project. Ask them, what do you want to drive? I showed interest in senatorial thing. Why? Because I'm interested in natural resource governance. But I'll tell you that it doesn't always work like that. So what are they after? Oh, that's once I get their power, because they control the budget, they implement the budget, they do you understand? They get more than 50% of the income that comes to the country. So virtually everything. So what trickles down is nothing, and so that creates a widening gap. And when you go to social function, the one that irritates me in recent times is to see people carry bundles, bills. You no longer even take pieces. Government came and said they banned spraying, but we now went to an advanced level where you carry bills of money, and then you start. So that will trigger off emotions and the kind of kidnappings and things you see. So I agree with you totally that the ills in the society need to be addressed, and security agencies must come out to really enforce. Because I take this to call out MTN, because when you see what happened There was a story I was listening to yesterday on kidnapping. The guys use phone.
Yes.
And when they use phone, will MTN tell me, then what's the GPS all about global positioning? You understand? Why do we have the space agency? You understand? If there's a collaboration between all these people, we should be able to track every phone, every location.
Are we supposed to just name only MTN? I think MTN needs to...
Not that is MTN and every, that is all telecommunication system. Not necessarily, MTN is a popular one, whether it's Glo, whether it's anything. As long as they make a phone call, we should be able to track. And then where's our space agency? You understand? Our space agency must be able to sit up, you understand, to address all these things. Then you will find out that these ills, if they are managed, we will start getting results.
Okay, let's go a bit to the mining sector, which is your specialty. Now, Nigeria is richly blessed with natural resources. I served in Kogi State, Lokoja, and I know that state is blessed with natural resources across Nigeria. There are wonderful states. You have Enugu, which is blessed in coal. I'll be hearing these things from primary school. Like, you will hear the states that has the most natural. We have limestone in, Kogi State, right? And other beautiful tin and the rest of them. And strategically, Nigeria is blessed. But at the end of the day, I have grown into adulthood, and I have not seen any multinational or company that is making good use, aside the likes of Dangote, that is still at least, which some people are still calling out and saying monopoly, accusing of every other thing. But we've not really seen the government make use of these natural resources. There is still this gap. So many communities have still remained underdeveloped, regardless of its natural resources. Why do you think this gap still exists?
Maybe I should plead with you to invite me and some others severally so that you can understand the mining sector.
Okay.
Mining is not a la carte.
Okay.
Mining is capital intensive.
Okay.
Mining needs a lot of capital.
Okay.
Mining needs investors. Mining needs enabling environment. And so if you need all those things, then that means you have to work at it. Remember, our country abandoned mining for several years. Between 1962 to 1999, there was really no organized mining in this country. So for you to just wake up overnight and think, oh, you want to go back to that to mining and be on the front burner, forget about it. It's not possible. What we should do is that we should commend the democratic dispensation that came up and said we just have to diversify our economy from oil. So we have so much oil infrastructure, we want to have no mining infrastructure. So it started with President Obasanjo, and it has moved like that. And to this present president, who in his own wisdom brought in the current minister, Dr. Dele Alaki, who is doing so much, in fact, to the point of stepping on toes, if you follow the mining sector. He came up with a 7-point agenda, you understand, to be able to address the mining sector, the gaps in the mining sector. And he has been aggressive, going on various road shows to be able to promote, because you have to sell it to investors. Because mining has taken a center stage globally. Why? We are shifting. Climate change is accelerating the development of mining. And so if climate change is doing that, because that means you have to think of smart mining. And then to do smart mining, do we have the supporting infrastructure? We don't have the supporting infrastructure. Do we have the capital? How many of us? Our Nigerian businessmen are used to quick wins. You understand? Let me do this and get my returns. Mining is not like that. So you have to woo in investors to come. What of data? You have to get accurate data, because nobody wants to go and invest billions, you understand, and find out that you've wasted your money. So yes, we have some data, but those data has to be authenticated. And then for you to drive in investors, you need critical reports. That reports have to be prepared by experts. One jock expert earns about $250,000. So how many people can afford to do that? So those are things we've been laying the foundation in the sector, and it's been bringing in its own attractions Today we have Segilola in, so you said you've not seen, so I'll just give you a few. Segilola, you understand, I'm sure in your geography in those days, you have always said Osun has gold, Kebbi has gold, your Zamfara has gold. If you go to these people, they are making their money, cool money. Segilola makes billions every year, you understand, from his gold. From his gold, and he's exporting. That's it. Governments can never be in mining. What's government doing in mining? Government has no business mining. You've heard what I've said. Even one regime can probably not complete a cycle of mining. So if they go into mining, what becomes of it? What government can do is to provide the enabling environment to make mining thrive, and that is precisely what this government is doing, bringing in investors, creating.
Get any form of returns?
Of course, they get returns from royalties. They get returns from royalties and taxes. And if you follow, you find that even the tax now, you know, the NIS has just been created, Nigeria Revenue Service has just been created, where all taxes, you understand? If you look at Mining Cadastre that issues the license, the revenue jumped up. Because why? People are anxious now, speculations, you know. People even understand the sector, and not everybody is just going to get a license. And when you get your license, there are payments, you pay your annual rents and things. So government is making money from. And if you look at what it used to be and the current earnings, before it is less than 0.1% that gets contributed to the GDP. But now the thing has increased to more than 6%, so which is a major growth. So for me, mining is doing very well. It's on a good trajectory in the country. And then remember again that you need skills. If you don't have skills, you will continue to export skills to come. So those are things we are doing, building capacity. Government is building capacity of people. Institutions are changing their curriculum, you understand, making sure that mining is added to it. And recently UNDP launched the mine pod in University of Nasarawa. And so quite a number of institutions are doing well. And that's why I said, if we don't dig into research, you understand, because laying a foundation is the most difficult thing, because when foundations are being laid about a beautiful building, you don't see it until the building comes up. Oh, this building is beautiful. The mining sector is doing so much in this country. And I want to commend the permanent secretary, is an engineer, and then the minister, you understand, who is doing so much, you understand, in fact, so committed, you understand, to readdressing Nigeria and repositioning Nigeria. So we have quite a number of companies. The lithium, you understand, lithium is a critical component. You find out that in Nasarawa, you understand, they are there, and then there's a major plant in Kaduna now that has opened up doing lithium. So you have them all like that. The thing you are talking about, our thing is continuously being exported to other countries. If you get to Thailand, you understand, you find that there were a major supplier of things, you know, that I take from here.
So if we have such a blooming environment right now, it's coming up, why is it that we still have a government that borrows and borrows? Because we are still to see this reflect in our economy. We're supposed to see this reflect in the country's GDP and all of that. So is it that we are yet to see, you know, the number of investors that are needed to make it boom as it should boom, or we don't have enough governors that are making the environment? Maybe we just have one governor. Maybe you've highlighted Nasarawa State over and over again. Maybe that's just one example of, you know, some of the governors making this possible. What do we really need to do to bring about that shift? Because investors you've mentioned, do we need more people? Do we need to market this to more people? Do we need to lobby in more investors and just show them you understand?
You cannot lobby investors, because you lobby investor. If you lobby investor, an investor comes in, that's foolishness. Okay. An investor is always looking for profit. Okay. An investor is always looking for an enabling environment. Constant policy somersaulting is a danger. When you come up with a policy today and tomorrow is somersaulted to come up with another policy. So inconsistency is a danger, especially in the mining sector, because the risk associated with it is high. So the first thing is that you want to de-risk the environment. Okay. So when you de-risk the environment, and that's where you have to bring in your bankers. Your bankers must, you understand, we need to look at how to change our interest rates from the high 2 digits, you understand, to single digits for mining. This is very important. So when you don't see the investors coming as much as you think they should, they too are equally watching. There are other destinations. And Africa is so endowed with mineral resources. As you speak, how much billions of dollars was invested in Guinea, you understand, for the mining of the aluminium, you understand? So the truth of it is that mining is not a child's play. Mining is not something you say. And when you say you don't see development, I wish you knew how terrible this country was during the pre this government. We are all responsible. I tell people, for every $1 or 1 penny a politician dashes you, and you go to the house and you think he's dashing you away our life. So we are all corrupt, we are all guilty. So if we want to reset, let us all blame ourselves and say, we are all part of it. You understand? Okay, now we want to change, we repent, we've repented, we want to make sure, we set the agenda properly. And how do you do this thing? By putting round holes in round pegs, square holes, square hole. And to do that, there are some agencies opportunity to call out government. Mr. President cannot do it all, but the coordinating minister or SGF must wake up to look at it. Frequent jumping into aircraft and traveling out of this country does nobody any good, especially in view of the flight cost. You travel all over the country, you understand, all over the world. We are always the largest delegation. What do we bring back home? In the era of technology, all we have to do is build up a strong technological base, you understand, and with each office you have an opportunity where they have their room, a media room, where they can anchor and participate, you understand, because every program naturally now has a hybrid status where you can work and you are still doing your work and you can still participate in conferences. But we all jump out to all these things and we are indisciplined. There are some DG, you get to the offices, you don't even get to see them. You start wondering, where do they work? How do they work? Because even their own staff don't even get to see them because they're always outside the country. And why? Just because of ESTA code. So if we stop all this nonsense where we review cost, you will see that we have additional savings to be able to drive the country. This should be a period of sacrifice. And if we really go through this sacrifice where we tighten our belt, because I believe that a father who knows he's running bankrupt sits down and call the family and the wife and children and say, see, let's reprioritize our goal. You draw up your agenda and then you all make sacrifices. But in Nigeria, we are asking masses to make sacrifices and then we ourselves are not making that is, the leaders we see are not making the sacrifices. So it is not encouraging. It is not a good index, you understand, for followers who see that and want to make sacrifice. And that's why you see people doing all manner of things. So, and then when people are caught, you see the plea bargain. He's saying I got an interpretation of the plea bargain because plea bargain overseas, you understand, still does not take sanctions away from you. So I believe that these are things, and now judiciary have to sit up. If we look at all these ills in our society, I'm sure we will get better results. But if you sit down and do a thorough evaluation, you see that some ministers are doing very well, putting in their energy. Some governors are doing so well, putting in their energy. And then the president, you find out that the president cannot micromanage. He cannot. If he micromanages, then he won't get anywhere. But he's committed, and you can see the reforms. Let's look at the fuel issue. You understand? With the global crisis that erupted recently, how do you think Nigeria would have been? We have been grinded completely, but for Dangote, who equally is even exporting to neighboring countries. You understand? Suddenly we became a major hub. You understand, for this. So I believe that all other sectors can equally be translated to that. But all hands must be on deck, from the young person to the adult, young adult, and elderly. We must all be, and even NGOs, we all have stake, and that takes me to Focus Africa. You understand? If you look at what Focus Africa is doing, Focus Africa is doing a great job bringing in women, you understand, to the forefront, saying women are there. Women can be in the boardroom. Women can be in developmental space, and networking across Africa for productivity, because a nation that needs more than 50% of its own population is equally at risk, you understand, of extinction.
Okay, so tell us more about Focus Africa.
Focus Africa, incidentally, is a dream initiated by a young person, and let me just read it out so that I don't mess it up, because I really love what he does. He said, Focus Africa Women Forum is a premier initiative fostering women's empowerment, advocacy, and training across Africa. It connects female leaders, entrepreneurs, and professionals to promote boardroom leadership, business growth, and mentorship. And what is their mission? Aim to bridge the gender gap in leadership, focusing on women in business, governance, and the marketplace. And then, how do they do this? They create funds which they give out to women who are, you understand, who probably will not have any opportunity because you want to take loan from the bank, you need a collateral, you want something. So small loans are given out to people, you understand, which they're able to raise, and this helps them as startup to be able to start. And then women, you understand, when women network together, you're able to open up doors, you understand, to one another, just like the kind of camaraderie that men do. Women don't have anywhere to run to. So if we start building up your network and strengthening your network, you know who is somewhere, you know who you can reach, and it helps you a lot.
Okay, you spoke about the president's reform. I would really commend that aspect of this very administration. Now, one thing I have noticed with this administration is the president's ability to link up ministries and bodies together to bring them closely knitted so that reforms will be driven better. For example, the Ministry of Education recently had a stakeholders meeting with a data collection team, NEDI, and they came together to see that the education sector has good structure around its data collection so that they can work together. So this is a ministry working with another body to ensure that there is indeed growth in the education sector. Now, talking about the mining sector now, you mentioned education. You mentioned the fact that we need skilled hands, and some of these universities have, begun to integrate courses, that would build, educate graduates in this field. I heard of an incident. A very close friend of mine lost his life while he was trying to mine in Jos. I don't know how they went about it, but I heard they were digging and somehow sand
collapsed.
And when I heard of that, this is a guy that just finished school. He just graduated, waiting for his youth service. I think he just finished youth service and trying to hustle, and they went about doing their own mining in the way they, I don't know how skilled, but I know he studied geography, right? He studied geography. I don't know what aspect he focused on, but I remember well that he studied geography. So we have the graduate. I believe geography should teach all of those things too. I don't know how well they do teach it, but maybe we need, the integration of technology and every other kind of, tools, every other kind of knowledge that will be needed for this very time and age to be able to effectively carry out, this. Do I call it hustle or skill or whatever it is? But how well is the mining sector working with relevant bodies such as the ministry?
Let me just help you. Let me just help you with that. Let me just help you with that, and let me look at the screen boldly and tell Nigerians there's no hustling in the mining sector, because when you hustle, you might lose your life, just like you said. To hustle, there are certain areas. The mining sector, from mines to markets, has areas you can, but definitely not the exploration and the exploitation area. Because those are danger zones, because you can kill yourself in the process of it, just like you said. Actually, what you have described, I think I heard of that accident, is an illegal miner. Does he even have a license to mine? That's the first instance. Because when you want to mine, there's a procedure. If you want to be a miner, the first thing is that you apply for a license. They look at the conditionalities. Do you have it? Then they give you an exploration license. You understand? So that exploration license gives you the opportunity to go and explore and find out where you are allocated. What do you have there? So in that process, you have been able to plan. So you can even start with ASM and graduate to small-scale miner. You understand? So, and then when you are, the next thing is that you affiliate with a body. We have Miners Association of Nigeria. We have Women in Mining Nigeria. And when you are in this group, you find trainings. Like every last Thursday of the month, you understand, we do training, capacity training, strictly censored, talking on mining sector. So those things are things that help to build your capacity, to gain knowledge. And then you have peer group effect, where you can talk to people, somebody who is mining in a similar environment, where you can discuss with and know how to go about what you are doing. There are certain areas, of course, where you can be a broker, where you can be an assist, where you can work in the lab. But you know what? You even still have to get trained, because if not, you will go and buy fake.
So what do they teach in universities then?
What you teach in university is geology. You get geology, and then you go on field work where you can identify rocks. And you find out that even when you come, you retrain yourself on the field. There are people who never stepped into the university who will identify rocks better than you. You understand? But so when you talk about geography, geography has no relationship with geology. Geography just talks generally about rocks. But in geology, they break it down for you. You understand? To say this is what you have to do. This is, and that geology is divided. Even in geology, you can't say you're a geologist and you want to go for exploration. Because in exploration, there's your aspects there that you can do. The geophysicist has his own aspect he can do. The geochemist has his own aspect he can do. The hydrogeologist has his own aspect, and they're all within the team. You understand? The exploration team. So when we don't do things right and we call everything hustle, you understand? It came back to our introductory statement where we said we must learn to value our lives. We place money above everything. Oh, people are making money, let me go and make money. Are you trained to make money? But in terms of capacity building, in terms of training, there's a training school in Jos.
So are we saying that
there's a training school in Jos?
Just do theory and you don't
No. I went to the university, I read geology, first degree, before I went into engineering. The university gives you the basics, just like any other thing. A doctor is giving the basics. When you get to the field, you master it. Every profession, and that's why when you even get into government, there's what you call pupillage training. You understand? You go for it. And I want to use this opportunity to equally advise geology graduates now that there's mining in the air in Nigeria. You can have so many mining companies you can work with. Do volunteering. We hate to volunteer in Nigeria. And volunteering helps a lot. You understand? When you volunteer, you build up your capacity in the process. But there are institutions, there are mining institutions in this country where you can learn mining in itself. You understand?
Wow, that was quite educative. I mean, I never really saw it in this light. I always thought, geography. I know people that study geology and geography, so it has helped me understand the difference, right? But then let's leave you with this question now. What message would you like to share with young Nigerians, especially young women who want to contribute meaningfully to national and continental development?
That's a very, very beautiful question. For young women out there, one thing is that for you to contribute, you must be useful to yourself. The temptation is always in the air. In fact, the new language is that you use what you have to get what you want. I think that is right and it is wrong. There are certain things you have that you cannot use to get what you want. That is your dignity. You must promote your dignity. You must keep it intact. You must build up your self-confidence. And how do you build your self-confidence? It's through education. Not necessarily your degree. Thanks to COVID. I always say thanks to COVID, and people wonder why. So don't get me wrong. I lost 2 dear ones, my biological sister and my in-law, to COVID. So it is not that. But if you look at the ease of COVID, it accelerated digitalization. As we speak, if you go to Coursera, if you go to most of these educative platforms, yes, they are still registered for another course. You see, there are so many courses you can study and have certification. So that builds up your confidence. Some is not even about the certificates. So whatever you have in your CV, you should be able to defend. Now, number 3, you must identify mentors. Who do you want to mentor you? You understand? In this space, dream your dream and look for a mentor to fit that dream. You must reach out to that mentor to be able to build. And when you do that, you must have character. Character and charisma are very important. Because for you to be able to maximize or get benefits from your mentor, you must have character. Some of us are too proud or too, you understand, whatever, and you say, who was she talking about? And we don't have that patience, you understand? So, and we lose what we should get. I always tell people who move around me, I say, have you studied the principle, the Elijah-Elisha principle? Elisha wanted some things from Elijah, isn't it? And he said, please, I want your double portion. And the man just looked at him and laughed and said, you want my double portion? No problem. If you want my double portion, all you just have to do is watch me. If you're able to catch my mantle, isn't it? So I can imagine Elisha that his 100% focus was on Elijah. And he did. Did he do the double portion? Yes. So it's the same thing if you want to succeed in life. But you'll find some of us where we should start. You will find some young ones, we even tell you that they want to start as a senator. What are you going to discuss in the National Assembly when you get there? There's something called experience. You must gather experience. You must learn at the feet of the masters. When you do that, you understand, I tell you, you will succeed. It's what you have that you can export out. If you don't have something, you cannot export it out. You understand? So it is good you develop yourself so that you can export out something. And don't go on a competitive journey. You understand? Where you are busy competing on computer, it debars you from gaining the knowledge you should gain. So for me, I think if you use those tips as a young lady out there, irrespective of your parent status, because some of us are crazy about our parent status, and unfortunately most of those parents even stole money, you understand, and then they think it's something, and then later they just suddenly find themselves that when that parent vacates from the air, there's nowhere to go to because they have messed up the opportunity they have. Forget about what your parents have acquired. It might be lucky in his generation to have stolen so much, to have so much, or to have worked so much, to have so much. But you never can know what will happen, especially in a country where the currency tumbles, where there are all manner of IMF regulations. Tomorrow, the very rich father can become, the money can become insignificant. Build up your own character, your own charisma, your own, you understand, your own background. Build it up to concretize it. And that's where you'll be able to go far in life.
Wow, so encouraging. I think I found myself another mentor. Thank you so much, Ma, for that piece of advice. I mean, it is a whole lot. I hope our viewers enjoyed it. Well, we wish we could take more, but we'll wrap up the conversation here. I want to say a very big thank you to our amiable guests, full of wisdom and insight and so much experience. Thank you so much, Ma, for coming today. And to our viewers, I say we wrap it up here, but then we'll join Sadiya Yakubu right now as she takes us on the second conversation for the day. Global Morning continues shortly. Please stay with us.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m., Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
In an age of breaking news, you need a trusted source that prioritizes accurate, factual, and unbiased reporting. This is AM News, and I am Ubong Usoro.
On Global Television, our news is rooted in verified and authoritative storytelling that keeps you educated, informed, and enlightened on all the issues that matter to you. I am Sadiya Yakubu. This is Midday News.
You can trust a multi-platform news broadcast real-time and fast-check stories for all the big local and foreign headlines round the clock. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. This is News Express.
Our array of anchors delivers the news to our teeming viewers, breaking it down with context and perspective. This is News Cycle on Global Television. I am Anieti Patrick.
And the flagship news is your hub for the day's most engaging stories. This is News Prime, and I am Jumai Manson.
Did you miss any of our news rounds? No worries. Catch up at 10 p.m. and midnight, 7 days of the week. I am Mukhtar Kasim.
Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. We're active across all social media platforms at Global TV NG.
Global TV News, accurate and unbiased. I'm Uyi Agmofwebe.
Once again, welcome to Global Morning on Global Television Abuja, the place where stories come alive, ideas spark, and the moments that matter take center stage. I am Sadia Yakubu. I'll be your host for the next few minutes. DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. You can also watch on YouTube using at Global TV NG. So in this segment of the program, we'll be talking about the APC primary. So first, let's understand the topic: internal politics. APC wraps up primary elections ahead of 2027 general election. All Progressives Congress, Nigeria's ruling political party, has intensified preparations for the 2027 general elections by concluding major phases of its primary election process and internal consultations. The developments have generated debate over the state of internal democracy within the party. So according to reports, the APC National Working Committee revised and implemented a timetable for primaries covering House of Reps, National Assembly, governorship, and the presidential contest. The party adopted a mix of direct primaries and consensus arrangements as the method for selecting candidates. So the key features of the APC internal politics ahead of 2027. Consensus politics. One of the dominant features of APC's internal politics is the growing use of consensus candidacy. Party leaders argue that consensus helps reduce conflicts, preserve party unity, and prevent excessive internal battles. In several states, influential stakeholders reportedly negotiated behind closed doors to produce preferred candidates. However, critics argue that consensus can weaken internal democracy because powerful party elites may impose candidates on members rather than allowing open competition. So, of course, as usual, joining me in the studio is Zaka Nehemia. Let me quickly apologize in case I don't pronounce that name properly. Call him popularly known as Garkuang Abuja. In community service, Zaka has served as a National Zonal Secretary, National Program Officer at the National Youth Council of Nigeria, and he also served as FCT Coordinator, Coalition of Nigerian Youth on Security and Safety Affairs. Zaka holds a certificate of achievement from United Nations Department of Safety and Security, and he was recently elected as the APC State Youth Leader, the FCT. It's nice having you on the show this morning.
Thank you.
All right, so let's get started. Why did the APC conclude its primary elections earlier ahead of 2027 elections?
Well, when you asked why did APC conclude their primary early, if you have gone through the new Electoral Act, it gives guidelines for all the political party to conclude their primary before, I think timeline is about 6 months before general election, and the new Electoral Act says that all the party must conclude their primary between the months of May and June. Right. So it is not out of place to say APC has concluded their primary early, neither is it too early, neither is it too late. And if you look at the election cycle, you should understand that after 4 years, every political party knows that there is going to be another election. So as we in APC, I think we have done what is right by concluding our election early, because it gives rooms for reconciliation, replacement, and withdrawal. So I think as a political party, it gives room for all this.
All right. So how do APC primaries reflect the party's internal political structure?
Well, if you understand the activity of APC as a political party, you will attest to that yes, APC is one of the political parties in Nigeria, or will I say in Africa, that practice internal democracy. If you look at the government of President Asuwaju, you could see that it's a government that reaches out to everybody. So either you are aggrieved, they reach out to you, both the new members, both the old members, everybody is carried along in the government of President Asuwaju. If you look at what has happened recently from all the state structures, you could see that governors are defecting to APC, and they are carried along. They are not seen as if they are new members. So APC, I could say that it's the only party that practices internal democracy, and a party that reaches out to all, irrespective either you are old, irrespective either you are new. They see every member as one family, a political party that, yes, is for the people.
All right, so what strategies did APC use to maintain unity during the primaries?
Well, you will agree with me that even in a family, there are always issues, and to talk more of elective position, you understand that, yes, it is not out of place to say that, yes, we have issues after primary. But all these issues, they are surmountable. By the grace of God, I expect that after today, because the last process is today, which is for the presidential primary declaration. I think is ongoing at the collection center. What I expect to do after now is to set up a reconciliation committee, first at the national level, then set up a reconciliation committee at the state level to reach out to those who feel, yes, things were done right and things were not done right. You know, any contest that has 1, 2, 3 people, and you are contesting for just one position, you should know from beginning that, yes, out of 4 of us, one person must emerge as the candidate. One person must emerge. Expect that, yes, after that, it shouldn't be hard, because you already know that, yes, it could be me, it could be him, or it could be her. So Issue, yes, there are issues, but I believe all this committee will reconcile all the aggrieved and those who are not aggrieved, so that let's see how we can foster unity of the party ahead of 2027.
So talking about reconciliation, I have started seeing some aggrieved APC members moving from APC to various rival opposition parties, rather.
Well,
so how do you intend to carry them along? Do you want to bring them back during the reconciliation process, or you just let them be?
Well, that is politics. Politics is by majority. For you to be able to win an election, you need everybody. But it is not out of place, because we have seen a lot of people also defecting to APC. And some people said, oh, I'm not okay here, I want to be a candidate. By all means, it is not out of place to say, okay, they are looking for, but nevertheless, as I've said, we are going to set up a reconciliation committee and we'll reach out to everybody. Don't be surprised that, yes, after, yes, it's good to be angry, but don't be surprised that after 1 or 2 weeks, they'll be back
to the party.
To the party.
So what's the fate of those that left the APC, joining another party? Do you think they'll still come back?
Definitely they will come back. If a sitting governor who won an election in PDP can join APC, you are not even with a position, and you cannot set that. Yes, if you look at we in FCT, you will understand that yes, APC has done so well. The same thing with other states, APC has done so well.
So what has APC done in FCT? What has APC done in FCT?
Well, if you ask me what has APC done in FCT, if you have been here 4 years ago, and you will see that there are a lot of changes in FCT. If you have been here before and maybe you travel, you come back, you attest to it that yes, there are changes in FCT. Let's look at the infrastructures in FCT, in the city center, at the satellite town, at the local government level, and at the communities. For the past 3 years that yes, this minister was appointed, Barrister Nyesom Wike. He is a minister that has tried to reach out to not just to the people at the city center, but he has also extended hand to satellite town. He has extended hands to communities. There are many communities that they were not even expecting 1 kilometer, 2 kilometer road in the next 20 years. But this government has made it possible within just 1, 2, 3 years. Secondly, you also look at the political structures of FCT, the administrative structures, the political structures. Before now, we don't have what is called Civil Service Commission. But with the coming of this administration in FCT, we now have a Civil Service Commission where directors are being promoted to permanent secretaries. That is staff progression. Then you also look at the traditional tools institution. For 28 to 29 years, some of them were promoted to 3rd class, some were promoted to 2nd class, and that has been that, except one in Abaji that we're having just one 1st class chief for 29 years. But this government has made it possible. We now have 1st class all across the CCRA councils. So there are so many issues to mention that this government has done to the people of FCT.
All right, talking about, you made mention of the minister, FCT minister, Nyesom Wike. All right, is Wike a card-carrying member of the APC, or he's still in PDP?
Well, when we talk about development, that does not have to do either he is a card-carrying member of APC or not. But what we understand that he's working for the people of FCT, that's number 1. 2, he was appointed by Mr. President, and Mr. President is who? He's from APC. Yeah. So if he's appointed by Mr. President to go to FCT and represent me as a minister, because he's not a minister on his own, he's representing Mr. President. Do you understand? Mr. President is the minister of FCT. So Barrister Nyesom Wike is representing Mr. President. So whatever thing he does in Abuja, the credit go to who? Mr. President, who is the president of the nation, from where? From APC political party. So whatever thing that has been done in FCT, credit got yes to Barrister Nyesom Wike, but first to Mr. President, because whatever thing has been done was made possible by Mr. President. You look at the approval from TSA, removal from TSA, and budgetary approvals, express granting of contracts and other things. So they are made possible by Mr. President, and President is an APC government.
All right, so what were the major outcomes of the APC primary elections?
Well, you could see that this is the first time we are recording the violence-free election across the nation, though there were some minor issues. But if you have been in the media space, you could see that across the state, most of the elections were so free. Some were through consensus, some were through direct primary, and this has given people a sense of belonging, because people have gone out as members to elect their candidate. Unlike before, that few people have been selected as delegate. They will go to a hotel, sit down and say, this is our candidate. But this time around, it has given room for negotiations from beginning. People sit down to talk. Who do you want? Like what it did here in FCT, we give forums to aspirants. We ask them, go and talk to yourself. Go and talk to yourself. So we divided into two. The Senate, go aspirants, go and talk to yourself. The House of Rep aspirants, go and discuss among yourself and give us the best. At the end, they could not agree. We say, okay, let's go to direct primary. Everybody show your capacity, how rich you are to the grassroots. Direct primary involve the members of the party who has done their registration and has paid their due. So we said, okay, let's go to field. Let's see how connected you are to the people at the grassroots and the party members. So it was made so easy for us as party executives, both at the national and state level, that yes, people at the grassroots, we are given that sense of belonging to elect who represent them at the party level.
So how transparent was the APC primary election process?
Well, the process was very transparent, that's number one, because it was a physical, you a card carry member, yes. Where is your card? Here is it. Who do you want as your candidate? So it was a physical process that does not require you manipulating anything. You count 1, 2, 3, and you get your number. The candidate agent is here. Candidate A, his agent is here. He's carrying his poster. Candidate B, C, they are all there. So it was a transparent process that all the agents of the aspirant were all represented at the polling or at the ward level.
All right, so let's talk about internal democracy. Did the APC primaries promote genuine internal democracy?
Well, just as I've said, consensus promotes internal democracy because it gives room for stakeholders and the party leaders to sit down and discuss about issues. I feel this should be our candidate. You said no, superior argument, So it promotes internal democracy. 2, there was also an option. If you cannot agree on consensus, then you go to field and test your popularity, test your reach at the grassroots level. And that is internal democracy, when people are allowed to express themselves, express yourself to the stakeholders, express yourself to the people at the grassroots who are our original voters. So, and that is internal democracy, when everybody is carried along.
Yeah. So to what extent were ordinary party members involved in the selection?
Well,
that is the candidate selection.
Like I've said, the process, which was direct primary, yes, at the consensus level, the direct voters may not be involved. It will just be a stakeholders arrangement. But through direct, which was mostly used at the state level, I think everybody was carried along because it goes down to ward level. And this process was monitored by INEC, which are the supervisory body for all the political party. So across the 36 states and FCT, all the election was conducted. I could say that it was free. People were carried along. The local government level were carried along. The ward level were carried along.
How did consensus candidacy affect Democratic participation within APC?
Well, I am not a fan of consensus candidates because a lot of argument has arrived that consensus candidates sometimes is a light selection. But if you look at what happened recently at state level, at federal level, you can understand that the consensus candidates were just very few. Secondly, the consensus candidate has to do with everybody coming into agreement, all the aspirants. If aspirants are 4, they just have to agree. After talking to themselves, they have to agree that yes, we have agreed A should go and represent us. And you could note that yes, if the aspirants have agreed, which means they have consulted their supporters. Every aspirant have supporters, have a team that he works with. So when they also agree that yes, this should be our candidate, it means that everybody was also carried along, both at the grassroots level, both the members of the party, because every candidate represents your member.
So were there allegations of candidates in position during the APC primaries?
In some states, we've had that information of candidate in position, but you know, just like even in the family, sometimes there used to be issues. But as I've said, these are issues that will be resolved. The issue of imposition, yes, you know, some people will naturally feel aggrieved. Some may not be, you know, they are just contesting to say, oh, when you have 100 supporters, people make you feel as if, in politics, people make you feel as if you have 1,000 supporters. So, but as I've said, there are machineries on ground to set up a reconciliation committee. Those who are aggrieved, those who feel people were imposed on them, all these things will be settled. We still have an options, 2 options before final election. Okay. We have candidate replacement. We have candidate withdrawal. People can decide to say, okay, I have come to time with my people, I want to withdraw. You can be replaced. Then, after all this, because we look at what happened at the state level, there could also be, okay, let's find a way to replace candidate A or B. So, I think the process has not ended. It's a continual process till 2027 general election.
So how fair were the primaries to all aspirants within the party, even though I know, yes, you've spoken little about this?
Well, in all fairness to APC as a party, I think this is the first time that people have been given the mandate to select who represent them. In the first time, people have been given mandates to choose who represent them at all the political positions, right from House of State Assembly to House of Rep to Senate and to the President. Even yesterday, I was in my political ward where we all line up to vote Mr. President. So you could see that, yes, people were actually given a fair treatment.
All right, so
we give credit to the leadership of the party at the national and the leadership of the party at the state level.
All right, so let's talk about power and influence. What role did governors and political godfathers play in APC primaries?
Well, just as even the Constitution recognized the power of the governors as chief security officers of their state, APC Constitution also recognized governors as the leader of the party in various states. And where there is no governor in that state, anyone who is holding the high political position, he serves as the leader of the party. You cannot be a governor and you not have an influence, because number one, you are first a governor, you have commissioners, you have so many people working with you, you have representatives down at the world level. And if you look at the state structures, how appointments are being made, appointments are made by local government, and local government is just a center. You must have a political ward, you must have a polling unit. So 90% of appointments at the state level are made in these structures.
All right.
So if appointments are made in this structure, you should expect that governors must have an influence. That's number one. Governors must have a say because they are also connected to the grassroots. So whosoever want to serve, you must be doing something. You must be recognized at your ward level. You must be recognized as your polling unit. So, and governors is not a ghost. They reach out to people. They hear from the people directly, and they are in their state. They are working. So it is made easy when there is this collaboration. What you are doing, you reach out to your party leader. We can do this together, and we can succeed and move this party forward. So issue of influence, yes, there could be influence. Yes, there could not be influence. But I've seen some states that everybody was given fair treatment. Some governors have come out and said, I don't have a preferred candidate. Some have come out to say, I have a preferred candidate. And it's not out of place. Everybody must have a choice. I feel that if I'm not here today, option A can continue with the good work I'm doing, which is right. And you should know that governors are just one, and they have one vote, just like every other person. Some governors' preferred candidate has lost election. We have seen it, we have heard it, and we know. So while some governors' candidate has won, while in some states, some governors' preferred candidate has lost out. Even at the federal level, there are some ministers that resign. People thought maybe they have a consent of Mr. President, this is Mr. President candidate, but some of them has lost.
Yeah.
The issue of Bauchi State, the former Minister of
Foreign Affairs.
He has lost. The same thing with Minister of Power. So I could say that, yes, let's give credit to Mr. President first for allowing free and fair primary election. Then we look at the party leadership at the national level. We need to give them credit for allowing free and fair. Then we also look at the governors too for also allowing free and fair party primaries at the state levels.
So how influential was the APC National Working Committee in selection process?
I think the influence they play was to allow internal democracy of the party for people to select. I have not heard that, yes, the APC National Working Committee imposed a candidate somewhere. Rather, they have always come out to say, let's allow a transparent process. Let's allow people at various wards, at the various local government, at the various states to choose who represent them. We in FCTA, we have a national zonal secretary. He contests election as Buhari Amak Federal Constituency, but he couldn't win. But if there was an influence by National Working Committee, they would have said, oh no, this is one of us, let's allow him to win. Then I can also make a reference with Comrade Saliu Mustafa, who was former Vice National Chairman from Northeast. He contested for governor of Adamawa State. He also withdrew. He couldn't go to primary. He said, I've seen this process, I want to withdraw and go to Senate. So if the National Working Committee has said, okay, let's have an influence over this primary, they will have said, he is our own, let's allow him to emerge as governorship candidate. So I've said it before now that, yes, let's give credit to the party leadership.
So how does zoning and regional interests affect APC internal politics?
The issue of zoning, it has always been peculiarity. Some states are so peculiar. Some states have internal arrangements that, like in Niger State, they have Zone A, Zone B,
and Zone C. Yeah.
So here also in FCT, we have Abuja North, we have Abuja South. And so many, Nasarawa, we have Nasarawa West, Nasarawa Central, we have Nasarawa East. So some state has these peculiarities that yes, power must shift to Zone A or Zone B. And it gives room to, it limits the power struggle to the zone. You cannot tell me that, yes, if you have one of the best in Zone A, we should also have one of the best in Zone B. So it limits this power struggle because already you know that in the next dispensation, the power is going to be zoned. So it's left for you, if you have an ambition, to go back home, start reaching out your people, get prepared, that when the power is now zoned to your own zone, you should be at a better position to clinch the ticket. Well, in my own little way, I could say that zoning has helped a lot of states to stand firm, to stand strong, and it has helped a lot of political parties, especially APC, to still stand strong, because that struggle for power is being limited and it's been zoned. That yes, also zone, it is your turn to produce the governor. Not for sometimes now has not produced a governor, but the governor came out, the party structures come out and say, in all fairness, let's zone the governorship ticket to Kwara North in the APC. And a lot of people came out. Some people were anointed. Some said, I'm from presidency. Governor said, I have a preferred candidate. But at the end of the day, a neutral mind emerged. That is internal democracy.
All right, so let's look at I wanted to assess the effectiveness of APC primary election process ahead of 2027 general election.
Well, with what has happened, if I'm to assess the overall primary election of our political party, which is APC, I would say we've done roughly 95 to 99%. And I want to assure you that with what we have done as a party in this primary, 2027 is going to be an easy ride, because the crises are just minimal. That's number one. A lot of people are not that much aggrieved, unlike what used to happen before. So it has given a clear direction that yes, APC is ready for 2027 general election. If you look at other political parties who are just, they are even finding it difficult to conduct their primary elections. In fact, I can tell you for sure that some of us are not even aware, either they are even, or some of them are even doing just family arrangements, like, what was that political party's name? NDC. I think they are using their house. Their party leader is using his family house to conduct all activities of political party, both at the national, both at the state level. If you are contesting for a state assembly member, you must go to his house. If you are contesting for House of Rep, you must go to his house. If you are contesting for Senate, you must go to his house. So on our own end, you could see that our process was so open to all Nigerians to see, to all Nigerians to assess, unlike limiting everything to just one person.
So what impact might APC internal politics have on voter confidence ahead of the 2027?
It's now for Nigerians to know that yes, their vote is going to be, their vote is going to count in 2027. If Mr. President, who has all the power, who can decide to say, let's allow A, let's allow B, has given room for every member to participate, you should understand that yes, the president is ready, the party is ready to allow free and fair, and I can assure you that yes, in 2027, every vote is going to count.
So what reforms do stakeholders recommend for APC internal politics?
Sorry?
What reforms do stakeholders recommend for APC internal politics?
Well, just like life itself is a process, you can never say this is an end. The reforms are going to continue to, in a word today, you wake up with new things, new issues. Before now, all we do is indirect primary where you have delegate, but today we now have consensus, we also have indirect. By the grace of God, tomorrow you are going to wake up to see more transparent process that yes, it will afford everyone opportunity to say this is what I want in this party, this is how I want this to be done. So if you look at what we have now, we have a prof as a national chairman, and a prof is a man of integrity, is a man of process, is a man of reform. And I want to assure you that going forward, you should expect more party reforms.
So, your youth representative, so let's talk about this. How did youth and women participate in the APC primary elections?
If you look at the context generally, you will see that this is the first time we're having a very large number of youth participation. APC, on their own wisdom, said if you are below the age of 40, you are given 50% discount. And a lot of youth took that advantage and participated across the various states, across the various positions. I was in Adamawa to witness a campaign of one of our friends who was contesting for governor. He's below the age of 36. I think he's within the age of 36. He was contesting and he made a mark. He stood his ground till final, and he did very well. So it happens in various states. I have one other guy too. He was below the age of 20-something. He contested for state assembly. He also won. So virtually, you could see that this is the first time we are having a very large number of youth participation. And I want to encourage our youth, our Tamil youth, that yes, politics is no longer in the hands of the elite, it's now in the hands of the masses. And who are the masses? The masses are the youth. So let's participate. It is not until the general election. Let's participate in all the process of selecting who represent at the party level for general election, the process of leadership at the party executive level. Before, even in the FCT here, we used to have an age, somebody who is above the age of 50, 60, who represent us as youth leaders. But you could see that a lot of changes has happened. I'm now the youth leader of APC. You could see that APC is committed to the youth. You can't share somebody here in his absence. So they have said, go and represent your people, speak for them, serve them, give them that quality representation, speak for them. And that is what we are currently doing. And APC have said whatever thing that affects the youth, we are here for you, we are ready for you, we are party for the youth, we are party that gives that equal recognition, just the way we have done for women, we are also doing for the youth. Women's forms were free, as you know, and we are also considering youth, and that was why all the forms across were 50% discounted.
All right, so what reforms do stakeholders recommend for APC internal politics?
The reforms that I feel stakeholders are recommending, number one, is the party free and fair election.
All right.
That's the first thing, and they have expressed it. It's just like a test run. They have done it that let's allow people to have a say in the party. Let's allow, if you are just, if people consider you as an ordinary party member, have a say in the party. And that is what this current leadership is doing, and that's what all the stakeholders are also recommending. Let everybody have a say in the party.
So talking about free and fair, do APC members believe the primary were free and fair?
95% of APC members believe that yes, the primaries were free and fair, because if you look at those that emerge as their candidates, these are people who have stand the test of time. These are people that are known by their people. These are people who are before now, they are doing a lot for their people. So if this kind of people could emerge as their candidate, you should know that the election, the party primary election was free and fair.
All right, so from your end, can you analyze the relationship between internal party politics and electoral success in APC?
The success we've recorded, especially in this primary election, you could know that where we used to be as a political party some years back, we are no longer there. We have issues that you could see an imposition everywhere. You could see crisis everywhere. You could see that a lot of issues, some primaries were shifted, some primaries were not even conducted, some primaries were lifted from their state to FCT. But now you could see that every state was able to conduct their primary. There was no primary that was asked to cancel in their state and come and conduct it here in Abuja. Every primary election from state assembly, House of Reps, governors to president were all conducted at their own state level. So you could see that yes, the internal democracy, it is at the high level in APC.
So should APC adopt only direct primaries for future elections?
Well, I could not advise that we should only adopt direct primary consensus. In my own wisdom, I can still suggest that we allow those three options to work, either through direct primary, indirect primary, or consensus. If one fails, I believe one will not fail. Right. If the other one could not work, one could work. So there are peculiarities. What may work in FCT may not work in Adamawa. What may work in Gombe may not work in Akwa Ibom. So there are a lot of peculiarities. There are people that when they are being talked to by their leaders, hey, I feel for now you should do this, you should do this. They will all listen. So because of all these peculiarities, I still believe we can have all these options, so that it will not be left for state to look at their own peculiarity and say we are adopting option A instead of option B. Other state could choose to adopt option B instead of option A. So in my own wisdom, I feel all these things should still be open.
All right, let's talk about political godfatherism. Political godfatherism remains a major factor in APC internal politics. Can you tell us why?
Well, these are misused words. When they say political godfatherism, I look at them as if they are misused words. Everyone that needs to grow, that wants to grow, must have somebody who he look up to. And in a process of growth, you must have a mentor, you must have a leader. Just like in family, you have a father, you have a mother. So there are people that if I'm taking a decision, these are people who has passed this process. It's just like ladder when you are climbing. Some people are already at the top. So when I'm taking a decision, I said, let me consult whether my mentor or my father. And he's advising me that, no, these are my children, you guys should come together, you should do this, you should allow this, you should allow this. That is not godfatherism. It's just like a process of guidance. But just as I've said, people look at it as godfatherism, people who take decisions. But in general in life, there are decision makers. There are decision makers after God. when you said, God, I need this, there are still people you wake up and go to and say, hey, I need this. How can I get this? So when they serve as father to us in politics, they shouldn't be considered as if they are enemies of your progress or not. I believe they take decision as their best understanding. So godfatherism, I feel, is something that, yes, we should accept it.
All right.
Yes.
So should I say this is my second to the last question? How did the media from your own end portray APC's internal political activities ahead of 2027?
With the outcome of our party primaries, I have not seen any negative distance from media. Everything has been fine. Media are partners to the party. All they want is to see that, yes, everybody is carried along. All they want is to see that, yes, there are internal democracy. I think wherever the media has talked about, I think we will go back as party leadership, both at the state level and national level, to see what and what's transpired there. But in all fairness to the media, I think they are doing a lot, and they have considered themselves as partner in progress.
All right, so what parting words do you have for our viewers?
Well, is to encourage them that, yes, just as life itself is work in progress, Rome was not built in a day. The government, as Shwaju, is doing a lot. When you look at reforms that some presidents were afraid, decisions that some presidents were afraid 10, 20 years ago, you could see that he is bold enough to say, I don't care about second time, but let's see how we can reform our country, how we can reform our nation, so that our people can be free. The issue of subsidy, you should know that everybody, even all the presidential aspirant or candidate, agree that subsidy must go. So when he came and he did that, yes, when you are laying a foundation, it's as if things are not working. But when you start building, you will see that, yes. I believe that the second time of President Ashwaju is a process of building. A lot of foundation has been laid, a lot of changes has been made, a lot of reforms has been made. His second time is going to be a process of building that everybody will wish that, we could wish Ashwaju could stay for another third time. But we are not saying, because we have a constitution that gives room for first and second time. But I want to assure you that, yes, if Nigerian comes together and re-elect our president in 2027, we are going to see a lot of more reforms that will be beneficial to all Nigerians.
All right, so as we wrap up today's episode of the program, I want to sincerely appreciate you, Zaka Nehemia, if I'm correct.
Yeah,
correct. Popularly known as the Crown Abuja APC State Youth Leader, FCT, for being part of the program Global Morning, the weekend edition. Where party members feel excluded, disputes often lead to defections, court cases, and factional crises. Nigerian political history shows that poorly managed primaries can weaken parties before general elections. So, the APC completion of primary activities ahead of the 2027 election highlights the party's attempt to consolidate power and prepare early for the elections. Yet, the process also exposes ongoing tensions between consensus politics and democratic participation within the party. So, the question remains, can APC balance party unity and genuine internal democracy, or will allied control continue to dominate candidate selection? I leave you to that. So we hope the conversations and the story we shared inspired you and gave you something to think about. If you miss any part of the show, you can watch the full episode on YouTube using at Global TV NG. Join us again next time for more insights, more voices, and more stories that matters. I am Sadia Yakubu on behalf of the entire production team saying thank you for watching. Until next time, stay safe, stay focused, and bye for now.